This is my video on the parts of the brain. The first thing I'm going to go over is the lobes. There are 4 different lobes that we're going to look at. The first 2 on this page are the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe. The frontal lobe, as you can see in the diagram, is located right behind the forehead. The frontal lobe is involved with speaking and muscle movements. The parietal lobe is located at the rear of the head, as you can see in the diagram, more towards the top. This lobe receives sensory input for touch and body positions. The next 2 lobes are going to be the occipital lobe and the temporal lobe. The occipital lobe is located at the back of the head under the parietal lobe and the temporal lobe. This is where you get your information from visual fields. The temporal lobe is located above your ears, and this is for audio areas. You get partial information from each ear. The brain has 2 hemispheres, the right and the left, so therefore you have 2 different sides of each lobe. Parts of the brain we're going to go more into. The brain stem is what this picture is showing. The brainstem is the oldest and innermost region. The brainstem is also connected to your spinal cord. Part of the brainstem is going to be the medulla, which is just a slight swelling, as you can see in the diagram. Next, there is the reticular formation. This is the finger-shaped networks of neurons that go from your spinal cord all the way to the thalamus. The thalamus is on top of the brainstem, and it looks like a pair of egg-shaped structures, and these act as the sensory switchboard. Next, we're going to get into the limbic system. Limbus means border, so the limbus system is between the newest and oldest areas of the brain. It's made up of many different parts. The first one is the hippocampus. This is the memory function. The amygdala is 2 lima bean-sized neural clusters that are linked to fear and aggression. The hypothalamus is associated with hunger, thirst, sexual behaviors, and body temperatures. And lastly, there's the pituitary gland, which is the master endocrine gland. Next, the cerebral cortex is just the worm-like structure. It's just a fabricated, interconnected neural cells covering the hemispheres. This is the body's control and information processing center. The functions of the cortex. There's 2 main functions to the cortex, the motor functions and the sensory functions. This was demonstrated in the module video of opening up the jar. The motor function is located with the motor cortex, which is in the back of the frontal lobe. When stimulation is applied to the arch region of the motor cortex, this causes movements of specific body parts to the opposite side of the body. So on the right side of the motor cortex would control the left side of your body and vice versa. The sensory cortex is located in the parietal lobe, and the sensory cortex registers and processes body touch and movement sensations. As you can see in the diagram, it shows you the motor cortex and what it controls, and the sensory cortex and what it controls. They're very similar, although the sensory cortex has a little bit different. It's your tongue instead of swallowing, and your teeth and your gum rather than just your jaw. And that's it.